I want to throw some trade targets at you, Jerry and Lance, and see what your guys' thoughts are. We're still a little early in the game. Trade deadline's still a few weeks away. But let's start out with the name everybody keeps bringing up, and that's from the Tennessee Titans defensive tackle, Jeffery Simmons. When I say that name, does that garner any interest from either of you guys?
Yeah, I'm the same way. We've done some real investing, I believe, in our interior. To bring him in, does it help us get better? Yeah, but we've spent quite a few dollars on our defensive line. We need to get them to produce at the dollar amount or standard that they're supposed to.
Yes.
Time for them to meet the standard rather than go get someone else, to come in and help us meet that doggone standard. It's early. We're streaking. We're playing better. We're trending in the right way. So let's get our guys motivated to play where we need them to.
I still also think that we're trying to figure things out defensively on the defensive line. No different than the offensive line. They've been shuffling things around and trying to find the right people to do the right things within this scheme. It's still relatively new to these guys. Let's let things happen. Let's keep on investing with the guys that we have right now, figure out what schemes work, and let them play. I don't think that we need to panic right now and get one person and hope that this person changes the whole complexity of the defense.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you just spent a 3-year, $43-ish million contract on Grady Jarrett.
Right.
You got Javon Dexter. We got the jersey right there.
Yeah.
We haven't seen much production there. You still have Andrew Billings. I mean,
Sweat.
For me, defensive tackles should be one of the deepest positions on the Bears right now. And if we're going into the trade market, I don't want to be targeting something that I just said should be our deepest position.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? I mean, a player like this, I mean, he's a big-time player, right?
Yeah, he's a beast.
I mean, he is a beast. So, you always could use beasts on your team. But to your point, they invested not only free agency money, but draft equity, with Shamar Turner. But here in this last game, Lance, we did see Shamar Turner take reps on the edge. They put him outside.
Yeah.
And I know you were big on Shamar Turner coming out of Texas A&M. What did you think of that when they threw him outside and he actually played pretty well out there at times as well? Is that a spot you think we'll see more of him out there?
We're probably going to see him more out there because when he's in the interior, he's in the defensive linebacker's lap. And that's a problem. As he's getting pushed off. He's getting blown back in double teams, and I don't – listen – I know that you watch a lot of players' highlights, when they get drafted, but, none of which did I see when he got double teamed in those highlights, him getting driven back the way that I've seen him getting driven back, against the run this year. So, yeah, I guess a better fit would be for him to be outside where he'll have to face less double teams and he'll face more tight ends.
Javon Dexter right now has 2.5 sacks. It says, I think he did have a sack or a sack and a half against the Commanders. So
that leads the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Low bar, but.
Well, I guess that's why we got the jersey up there.
Well, they did start to apply a little more pressure agast Washington.
They did.
I mean, so.
I would like to see Austin Booker.
Austin Booker should return.
So he's going to return, and I'd like to see what he has going on. I really think that he will have a presence on this defensive line. But we'll see. I mean, this is all still uncharted territory still.
Yeah. I don't know, Zoom. The question's still out for Austin Booker. He's a guy that plays extremely well in the preseason. And then somehow, some way, when he get into the season and we get against the real guys that are really out there, he struggles. So the question's still out.
Last year? Because he hasn't really played a lot this year.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, no, but he played in the preseason. He showed out in the preseason.
Yeah.
I feel like he showed out last year in the preseason too. And then when we got into the season, when he was able to play, you didn't hear his name called.
Yeah, I think that he was hurt a little bit also. So I think now it's going to be different. Hopefully it's different.
We all hurt.
We'll see.
I actually am kind of leaning where Briggs is right now. I'm not going to I'm not going to take it off the table that Booker can be an impact player, but he definitely still has to prove it. I see a lot of fans being like, "Oh, Booker, when Booker returns, we've got this." Well, we don't know what we've got in Austin Booker.
We don't know.
You know,
we don't know yet. It's
And
still too early.
He's certainly in the preseason, and we talked about this, you know, in some of our preseason post-game shows and breakdowns after games where Austin Booker led the NFL in sacks in the preseason this year. You know, I think it did come in a different way than it did in preseason year number 1, where you were seeing a little more power to go with that speed that he has.
Yeah.
But to Briggs's point, now you got to do it against the real deal Holyfields in the regular season. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, he's not hurt anymore. He's healthy, so we got to put him out there and see what he can do.
Yeah.
Let him spin.
Yeah. And
this whole hurt thing. Okay, all right, man. All right, okay.
I mean, he hasn't
right.
played.
Listen, I've seen.
What do you want him to do? He hasn't played.
I've seen Jerry Azumah hobbled on the practice field, could barely walk, and I was like, "Damn, you're gonna play this week? Step onto the field, get 2 picks against the Washington." Back then, they were the Redskins. Walk off into the halftime, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's why you do it. Okay, that's why you got that break. I get it. That was hurt. That was hurt. Okay,
That was hurt.
So show me."
all right. He's going to show you this Sunday, it sounds like, because they did list him as full go yesterday on the injury report. So we'll get some more injury updates today from the Bears, or at least when this show is being aired. I'm sure it'll already be updated. So we'll have to wait and see, but it does seem like they're starting to figure out somewhat of a rotation on the edge. Obviously, you got Montez Sweat trying to do his thing, but Dominique Robinson starting to emerge a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Seeing where he's going. He had a good game against Washington. Shamar Turner's getting some reps on the outside. You got Daniel Hardy, of course, and then, you know, we'll see what Austin Booker can do here coming up, you know, hopefully on Sunday. Well, we do have a few more names to throw at you guys. I mean, you kind of tipped your hand here a little bit in terms of where you're at in terms of adding, you know, a player. But
You want to add Wilson?
We're not going to add Zach Wilson here, but we could potentially look at a guy like Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Let's roll through some of these other guys' options. You got Trey Hendrickson with the Bengals.
Too expensive.
Well, I mean, you know, if you're only having him for 1 year,
Too expensive.
You know what?
He doesn't want a 1-year deal.
No,
right.
he doesn't.
You're not. That's not. Yeah, you can't get him.
But right now he's currently on a 1-year deal, and if you could get him over here to finish the season out, you know,
you're going to be negotiating.
Let's just add more money to this defensive line.
Yeah, I'm not trading a 2nd-round pick or something around that value for a rental.
All right, let's get through the rest of these players, and then we can have that discussion.
Keep on spending money.
You have Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle from the Jets. Oh, this one.
That'd be a nice addition.
I would trade one of our interior guys for him. For Quinnen Williams, I'd trade one of our interior guys for him. Yes.
We know what he can do. He can penetrate the line. He can blow up plays. Like, he is legit, for sure.
Yeah.
I would entertain that.
Well,
I would entertain it.
Yeah, holster the running back here for a second, because I think this is an interesting conversation because, all right, you're saying you'd trade Briggs. You're saying you'd trade one of your D linemen for Quinnen Williams.
I'd trade one of our interior linemen for Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams, I think, is one of the premier interior guys. So he's gonna get penetration, and everybody's gonna benefit from his play. So Montez Sweat, Dio Adebango.
Yes, you said it right.
So you'd trade Jervon Dexter or Dio Dangbo for Quinnen Williams.
Absolutely. Dio's not an interior guy. He's an outside guy, but I'm trading. I absolutely would trade for Quinnen Williams, yes.
Yeah,
Quinnen Williams, he's better.
With the defense that they're running right now, you need a guy that can penetrate the middle of the football field, the A-gap, immediately and blow things up. And then everything else seems to kind of work from that, like Lance alluded to. So if you can get a guy like that on your defensive line, oh, my goodness.
Well, it is funny when I was
change the whole complexity of the defense.
It is funny when I was talking about the edge rotation, I forgot to say Dio Dangbo because he's not doing anything. And I said it on social media during the game. If I see him try to do that spin move off the line of scrimmage one more time, where it's a half spin because as he spins, the offensive lineman just pushes him away on his back. And it's an embarrassing move.
And if I see a Dio 55 jersey on our set, I'm going to puke. Okay? Let you know right now.
Well, I mean, but this is kind of the point, and Steven, you kind of brought to this. So when they kind of got their ears perked up for Quinnen Williams, and hey, maybe we'd trade somebody instead of just trading a draft pick, trade somebody on the defensive line for that player. You know, like if you look at Trey Hendrickson, you bring up the money, Steven.
The money, the draft capital you have to move.
So what if you could trade Montez Sweat for Trey Hendrickson?
I would do it. Yeah. Well, it would be contingent on an extension, and a lot of times teams allow you to talk to that player first and, kind of get the framework figured out first. If that was a scenario, yeah, I'd move Montez Sweat yesterday.
Would you trade Quinnen Williams for Jervon Dexter?
Yes, because Quinnen Williams, he's 27 years old. I still think he hasn't really hit that. He's maybe just entering the prime of his career. And, we've had Jervon here for a bit, and I think he's shown some improvements year over year. But if this team thinks that they're a playoff team, then you have to start pushing your chips in a little bit here. And to this point, we haven't really seen too much of that.
And how old's Jeffery Simmons? Because I do think he kind of falls in the same line of Quinnen Williams. Like this dude's Jeffery
27,
Simmons
28.
Jeffery Simmons is just as much a game wrecker as Quinnen Williams. I'm with you guys on this. And that's why I'm kind of glad I kind of pulled you in here. Like to start, you're like, I don't want to add anybody.
28.
Let's figure out who the D-line rotation is. But like, when we're talking about game wreckers, the Bears need game wreckers. I've been saying that, since the offseason. We got some guys, especially in the secondary, that can make plays, playmakers, but you need game wreckers. And there's a difference.
But if we're going to make an investment, too, we got to make sure that we got to think future, too, and we got to think about where we are in our division and what kind of run we can make for the playoffs also. Are we a playoff team right now?
And that's the $1 million question.
I don't know.
That is the $1 million question, right? Because this is what I was telling Steven. To me, any trade talk that fans are going to have over the next few weeks, because the trade deadline, I think, is November 2nd. It's either November 2nd or November 4th. Steven will help me out here in a second. But regardless, the Bears have 4 games coming up. It's November 4th. Thank you, Steven. The Bears have 4 games coming up where you have the Saints at home.
Yeah.
Then you play the Ravens.
Then you got the Bengals.
These
are all winnable games.
Yep. And then after the Bengals, it's the Giants.
Giants, I believe.
It's the Giants. And
we can go on an incredible run.
All 4 of those teams have a losing record right now. All 4 of those teams right now are picking in the top 10 in the draft right now. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Ravens are getting Lamar Jackson back, so that's a little deceiving. But for the other 3 teams, there's no saving what's ailing them right now. Right. And so the Bears have to your question of are they a playoff team? To me, we can't start trading for players until they've earned that they are a true playoff contender. Exactly. You have 4 games coming up here, and yes, we're taking it 1 game at a time. But if you go 3-1 in this next 4 games and you're 6-3,
I think it changes things.
Now we're talking about risking trading a player or trading draft capital to try to make a playoff push. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. But we have to wait and see. We have to keep on winning because that's one of the most important parts of this.
Because right now they're 2 field goals, whether a block kick or a missed one from Moody. Yeah. From the difference between being 3-2 and 2-4.
We got to stay healthy too. We got to stay healthy too. You got to think of if we go 3-1. How healthy are we? Are there injuries to key positions? And is there somebody that we might need to fill that void so that we can get us over that next hump? So, health is the key, I think, for a lot of successful teams. You have teams that are really good and they have all these key injuries that really set them back that year, and so let's see how that plays out as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an important, 3-game stretch. So we're going to have to see if they can show improve and keep on collecting these W's, because that's one of the most important parts right there. They keep on collecting these W's and they can possibly sneak into the playoffs. And if we're right on the cusp with that, then maybe we do make a move.
Man, if they go 3-1 in this next,
it's doable.
It is very doable. This is going to be a big one here coming up. It's going to be exciting, and we're going to talk about that here coming up on the other side of the break. We're going to give you the blueprint, as we always do, to beating the Saints. So don't go away. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We just passed 90,000 subscribers. And when we get there, I do apologize, Steven, because I know you also meant to bring up Breece Hall.
Oh yeah, I definitely did.
And so I don't want to take the win from your sails. To me, DeAndre Swift just had a big game, but you're still got your eyes on Breece?
Yeah, I mean, Jerry, you were on with Jarrett Payton yesterday, and I think you made a good point. He was showing video of the holes that the offensive line created, and he said, you probably could have run for first downs on those, and you said probably five. You said probably 5 a carry. I agree. Honestly, like, the offensive line did so good. I'm not trying to take anything away from DeAndre Swift, but they could cut him for some savings after the season. And Breece Hall, he's in a walk year right now. For me, I would seriously consider moving maybe a 3rd-round pick for Breece Hall and try to get him extended after that. And then you don't have to go into the draft next year trying to find a running back again.
That's a high pick.
I would do it. Breece Hall's a premier player at his position. He's averaging 4.7 yards per carry right now.
Steven, allow your offensive line to continue to open holes, but let them continue to trend. If they keep trending that way, shoot, like they said, it doesn't matter who's back there. They're opening holes like that. Anybody can run through it. Let's hope that. I wonder
why people aren't high on Swift. How come people just aren't high on him?
Well,
what is it about Swift that they're not high on?
For me, the biggest question mark when they signed DeAndre Swift last season was he had never had a fully healthy season. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say it like this, but to my surprise, he had a fully healthy season last year. And with that, he averaged a career low 3.8 yards per carry.
Yeah, but the offensive line was not really that great. How many times did Caleb get sacked?
And how many times?
And how many times did we go through a whole cycle of, let's put this guy in, and we'll put this guy in? They were the whole year. They were trying to figure out what combination worked on the offensive line, and basically nothing really worked.
I saw a guy last season that didn't want to run between the tackles. He kept trying to bounce everything outside and hit the home run. And Ben Johnson himself kind of called that out in one of his opening press conferences. This season, he seems to be trusting.
Yeah, well, the blocking is different also.
Yeah, I mean, it's still changing.
Even you wouldn't want to run through those tackles either. You wouldn't want to run through the tackles last year, trust me.
You're right, I definitely
He would try to bounce it out to the outside also.
I'm taking a knee, screw that.
Well, hey, and this is why this is coming up to be a big game. DeAndre Swift in the last game had 14 carries for 108 yards, a 7.7 yards per carry average, 2 catches out of the backfield for 67 yards with that huge touchdown.
That's where he's dangerous, too, and that's where he can excel is the extension of the handoff, which is the little dump passes and the quick passes. Yeah. You get Swift out in the space, he can create some things, and we saw that last week.
Well, and as I've said before, I said it yesterday, if the Bears found their left tackle in Theo Benedict, we'll see. Still a long way to go for him to prove that. But if they have, then all of a sudden you may not have to use your first-round pick on a left tackle, and maybe a lot of Bears fans keep bringing up the running back out of Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love, who might be kind of around the area of.
He's a burner, but you also got to realize this too: 7.7 yards per carry is not what's going to be the average each game. 14 carries. We're talking about a running back load that's getting 19 to 20 carries. We're talking about a 4.4 type average is a very good average. Anything over 4 is a good average. That's more realistic than the 7.7 for 14 carries. Yeah. That's what I'm saying? Like,
100%. No, he's 7.7 might be the best he does all year, but does show his potential of what he can do when everything is blocked up correctly. Yeah. So just like a good O-liner and a good coordinator shouldn't be a shot when a quarterback plays well. Like, he's got all this. Well, running backs, they need a good O-line too. So,
absolutely.
The Eagles, Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the league, but he's got the best offensive line.
The offensive line is incredible.
And so you see how that becomes a multiplier. So, but that being said, let's see them stack that, and we'll talk about potentially how they can do that. I know I just brought up Jeremiah Love, but I have to say as a Notre Dame fan, their backup running back, Jadarian Price, I think Jadarian Price might be better.
Really?
I know sounds.
How much does Jeremiah Love weigh? Do you think?
Let me
205.
Sounds about right.
He's not super big.
He's not. That's why we need a guy that's about 220. 215, 220.
A true change.
All right, that's a guy that moves the change. And give me somebody with the mentality like a scatterboot.
Well, Jeremiah Love is 6 foot 215, but he has had some injury history. So that's something to consider.
I mean, would you want to use a first-round pick on a running back? Because I mean, we're
if
saying
he's that good.
And yeah,
he got to be that guy.
If he's that good.
Or do you want to? And this is where I'm going back to my original point. Would you spend a third-round pick on somebody that you already know is that guy?
Right.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this. How about let's think about a first-round type talent. If you have a Adrian Peterson coming out of Oklahoma as an option in the first round, are you taking him?
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%. All right.
I was killing 100%. For the Bears to trade up for Ashton Genty. I didn't care. I was sitting there like, what? Once we got close to the draft, I was talking trench drunk all off season, and then we get 3 days before the draft. I'm like, screw it, like a drug addict. I'm like, screw it, trade your picks for Ashton Genty. Hey, he showed it when the Bears played the Raiders. Like, my God, that guy, he's gonna be a player. Man.
That's all he showed, though.
Yeah.
Brags.
That's about it.
We are one of the worst run defenses in the league. We knew that was going to happen.
Not anymore. We're not. They look at how well they played against Washington. I will not have you besmirch our great run defense for Monday night.
We moved up a few spots. That's right. We're 28.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we are.